Welcome to a video because basically I'm laying down on my bed just going to be talking. Now, I just want to mention one thing. I woke up today and all of a sudden my right eye just felt so bruised. It doesn't look discolored, but it just feels so. If I close my right eye long enough, it really hurts. I don't think it's the eyeball. I think it's the um, I think possible skin around it. I possibly got hurt. I don't remember getting hurt when I was awake, so maybe it's I don't even know. I genuinely don't even know. So like just laying down like this is perfect right today because I'm in the mood to be up and about. But I want to be up and about. Okay. So there's so much to talk about, but I want to talk about my favorite stuff from Rise. Now, I don't really know everything to be fair, because I can't from Rise. It's been a while um, since I finished Rise, and obviously with the new update with Sunbreak, I get a lot of the base game. But let me talk about things I really about Rise. I would like to say the first thing is, of course, the Palamutes. Fun fact: Palamutes supposed to come generation, but I think possibly with Generations or Generations Ultimate, one of those two games they were supposed to be, and they're supposed to be played like a weapon. Basically, it's so instead of the Palamute now in Rise and Sunbreak, they supposed to be basically like a choice. Them you can ride on them, like how you ride on them now. And here's the cool thing: in Rise and Sunbreak, when you attack, you know, your Palamutes can also attack in sync. Plan of the Palamutes. You stand for further away, and as you press the buttons, your Palamutes will, do the attack. You kind of move your hands around, and the Palamutes as well. That was the original concept, but obviously, they decided not to go with that. Did you know the Insect Glaive was for the first generation? I think it was the original Monster Hunter game. But I should check more information on that. But it was planned for the first. Now, here's something interesting. You know how many cards possibly have buried away, never used in a long ago? You know how many concepts they possibly have? They can really rework with concepts and bring them back, to basically falsify them in the game. Who knows how many weapon types they have, how many monster types they have. Awesome, because there were possibly a lot of monsters planned, and all of them got designed or just planned at all, possibly just stayed as concept art. So I really wonder if we'll ever get to see some of that. Kind of cool. Anyways, I feel like those were really good, and making them just a regular body instead of just a weapon, that's awesome. What else? When it comes to the Palicos, I really admire the fact that certain skills you can, what else? You can choose for both Palico and Palamutes, you can choose weapons and armor, but also when it comes to Palico, they're very, very dull. Their system is very dull to Palicos, because Palicos, you can choose a lot more, You can choose a lot more, which I really like, I really like that. They also have these cool little new attacks they can do, which is kind of cool. Okay, moving on from the pets. Not really pets, but you know, um, I would say that introducing introducing the cahoots, It's called, I forgot, but basically you have your little owl friend. If you don't know, Monster Hunter Rise has no proper tracking system compared to World or the previous games, where you had to kind of look for the monster yourself, paintball them, and in the prior games before that, you had to use scout flies, collect tracks, which was basically a very cool way of tracking monsters. It was basically a hunting simulator. But before World, you had to paintball your monsters. Paintball would fade away within a couple of like minutes. But I keep paintballing them. um, there was no there was no tracking, and a lot of people got disappointed, even me. But then I realized that there's a reason why there's no, because the point about Rise was to ride the attack other monsters as well. So so basically, imagine if you mount on a monster and then you don't know where the other monsters are. Imagine that. Imagine that. That would be very, very difficult. Or unless maybe they still had tracking systems, but they could have at least maybe when you jumped on a monster, you'll be able to find all the other monsters. Makes sense. So I feel like they just took the tracking out completely for this because of the riding mechanic. Something had to be sacrificed for the riding. I like the riding mechanic, but once again, I don't think it should leak out of Rise or Sunbreak. It should stay in that game because it's very. I don't want to be, fighting with monsters over. It works well with Rise and Sunbreak, but it won't work with other games. So I like the fact that they introduced a system, which is cool. Um, the fact that the diversity of the monsters were completely complex. To a world where the monsters were very bland, and yes, there were plenty of new monsters. It's just that the monsters they never really popped out in other games. Like when I played Monster Hunter Freedom 2, I never finished the game, played it. The diversity of monsters you fight within the first 6, 7 missions, it's completely insane. There's just so much of variety. Not just variety, but different blends, different colors. That's the point about the Hunter that I really like. And Monster Hunter World did not deliver that so well, but Sunbreak kind of added something to it. The next thing I want to point out, which is adding more small monsters and making them more profound. I'm sorry, but in World, they really lacked a lot of small monsters. Small monsters supposed to not only be food for the larger monster, obviously, they're supposed to be more than just that. They're supposed to be very vexing. So when you run into a different environment, you're supposed to find it challenging. Sometimes the small monsters would be around where there's a large monster, like especially the carnivores. But sometimes you would have some monsters just run away. I get that for certain type of monsters, but still, I feel like they lacked a lot in World. But in Rise, there was so many in every corner. The next thing I like about Rise is obviously making the endemic life more better. Even though you can't keep them as pets, which really sucks, the fact that these endemic life are so useful. Now look, the endemic life in World was pretty useful. You had your what was it called? Um, Revultures. You had your revultures, you had your toads that would, kind of emit something like fiery or can paralyze something or can make something sleep. You had those simple stuff. You had the ones where you can, you can basically take certain stuff. Like you had your dung beetles. I forgot what they call them, but you could basically take the crap from them and you can shoot the monsters with that. You had some cool endemic life. I'm not gonna lie, you had some really cool endemic life. You also had some rare ones you had to wait for and, possibly capture them. You had some ones that were just completely useless and just filled the void, which is not a bad thing too. In the old Monster Hunter games, you always had endemic life. They never did anything. I think sometimes maybe they could do something, but they were never something as complex with World. But Rise took that to the next level and made them so much more useful. So instead of World just having like 10% of them being useful, Rise has like I think all of them being useful. In some way all of them can be very useful. The next thing I want to talk about with Rise is, of course, the switch skills, which is something pretty interesting. Skill swap, you had all of these things when it comes. Well, wait, no. Skill swap was added when? No, skill swap is basically after. No, I can't remember the exact terms, but the idea to change certain move sets was completely insane. The fact that you can change it around That's awesome. And in Sunbreak, they actually make it more fun. That's good. That's really good. I like that. I really like that. But moving on, the next thing is, of course, I would say when it comes to gathering, in world, if you gather from bone places, or if you just gather certain type of plants, you have to press the button 3 times or hold the button. But with Rise, you just press it once and all of the items come with you. It kind of sucks how we have no nets, and when it comes to the pickaxe, it's just infinity, which is ridiculous. Uh, Coming from an old school player, trust me, like item management was the most important thing. But anyways, moving on. I really just love a lot about Rise. There's a lot of things to talk about bad about Rise, but I feel like Rise just has a lot of good in it. Sometimes you can oversee the bad stuff. I would also like to talk about Kumura's theme. All the music in Rise is pretty cool, but Kumura's theme is just so good. I love it. I love it. I know right now I'm playing the Elgato theme, but I'm just playing it because no one's gonna really play that much. If people play certain type of themes, most of the themes they're gonna play is Celiana from from Iceborne, Kamura from Rise, or possibly the Astira theme or the Poke theme from Freedom Unite. But I'm just saying, wow, the theme is very cool. It's not something that makes you want to leap out of and go on an adventure. It's something just very bland, and it's really good. It's calming because it doesn't have to be super energetic like Astira's theme. Because when it came to Astira, it was super energetic. Kimura's theme just feels right at home. Elgato's theme just feels like very tranquil theme. Anyways, when it comes to Rise, I think giving characters more, giving NPCs more depth is good. Making them feel more like characters is good, and I think that's awesome. In the rampages, I know rampages are very bad, but you were allowed to use NPCs to help you out, which was so good. You know, I never thought Sunbreak is gonna give you all of the NPCs, well, most of them to take with you on quests. I never thought they'll do that. Overall, I think Rise has a lot of good stuff. I think also when it comes to the weapon designs, fantastic. When it comes to the armor designs, it's good. Very colorful, very vivid. I also like the fact that you can also, block out certain armor. So as you're wearing a certain armor, let's just say you're wearing a tassette, you can also choose to kind of block it from viewpoint, so you can, it won't show. You can do that for all your armor, which is really fantastic. You have layered armor, which is not a new thing, but obviously I like the fact that it's there. But I also like the fact that you can actually choose if you want your armor to be visible, also your weapon too. I think World had something like that, but I don't know. I can't remember now. Okay, my throat's starting to hurt. It's starting to hurt, so I'm sorry about that. Okay, overall, Rise is a good game. The flagship monster was good, and the end games were really good. I should make a separate video talking about the bad of Rise. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this. Um, I know this is a strange format to be looking up and gazing on my ceiling, at my ceiling, but I don't know what else to show you. I really don't know what else to show you. If I had like a proper Nintendo Switch, like the full version, and I had like a proper capture card and a working laptop, I would have recorded some content. Or if I just had a microphone, I would just work with it. I have one, but it's broken. It's kind of hard to find good microphones. Have a lovely day. Bye.